What's up, scholars? Welcome back to another video. I'm caught up. I am caught up to One Piece 100%. I've read 1108 and I just read it like 2 minutes ago. Like, it's fresh on my mind. I've done it. I'm caught up. I am caught up to One Piece in the midst of Egghead when things are just going absolutely wild. I have a lot of thoughts. The last few chapters, because I read 1104 to 1108. So yeah, I read those chapters for this one, or whichever one I ended. I think I ended at 1103 in my previous review after Kuma's backstory, and oh my gosh. These chapters are insane. Oda continues to drop banger after banger with these chapters, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about it. But I will say, Patreon members are getting this video before YouTube does. So YouTube, this video is coming out on Thursday. Patreon members are getting access to this video by Monday or Tuesday. So if y'all want to see this video beforehand, if y'all want to get my content before my Thursday drops, go sign up for my Patreon. The link is down in the description below. I am so excited to talk to y'all about this, so let's go ahead and get into it. Kuma had just shown back up and he protected Bonnie, he saved her, and oh my goodness, their reunion, and then Kuma turning around and punching one of the five elders, punching Saturn and sending him flying was so satisfying. And then he's hugging Bonnie, and oh my goodness, that reunion was so sweet and tender, and Bonnie reverting back to her childlike form, and or not childlike, she is a child, reverting to her child form, and just being able to talk to him and tell him that she saw his memories, she's holding his face, she's being able to talk to him and thank him for the first time, and she knows how good of a person he is, and she tells him that. And Kuma, oh my goodness, this has brought up a lot of discussion about how Kuma is still moving. And Kuma, even though he's supposed to be in a vegetative state, this total shutdown switch did not work on him. He's still moving for Bonnie. It's such an interesting point in this story because of something we also see in 1107 with Sanji, and I'm getting excited. Saturn, of course, is infuriated that Kuma is here. Kuma is still fighting back, and he has control over himself in a sense, like enough to know to fight back and protect Bonnie. And he's blaming Vegapunk, and Vegapunk's like, I suppose it would seem that way, even though Vegapunk himself didn't do anything, because Vegapunk is saying there was no scientific reason for Kuma to be moving, for Kuma to come to this island where Bonnie was. And as Saturn is fuming, Vegapunk says, I could call it the power of love if it makes you feel any better. And that, the idea of love being stronger than any sort of scientific configuration, love being stronger than science, is such a unique turn on this whole power of love situation. Love has been very important throughout the entirety of One Piece. In a discussion I had with some of my friends, we were talking about how love has appeared in many different ways, from with Sanji and his mother to Ace's mom being able to carry him for so many months because she already loved him that much, to protect him, to the way Bellamere was protecting Nami and Nojiko. And I mean, you can even get into like Otahime's story and how love, this concept of love, even with Garp and his fists of love, there's so much incorporated into One Piece about this idea of love being the most powerful force. And I really like it because in some cases it can be played as very cheesy and very cliche. This idea of the power of love being the most powerful force of all. But there are some stories that do it really well, and One Piece is handling it very well because it hasn't been as in your face as much. It's been a subtle plot point that has been woven in from the very, very beginning of the story. This idea of love, the different types of love that we see in One Piece. I mean, Luffy's crew is the prime example of that. They love each other so dearly. That found family love is so prevalent. That is why, you know, that's why they walked against Arlong. That's why they saved Alabasta. That's why they saved Robin from Innie's lobby. That's why all of these different, that's why Sabati hit so hard, because the people they loved were being taken from them at the time, is what they were thinking. And then afterwards, you know, Marineford and the brotherly love with Ace and Luffy, and then after that with Post War, and you get the three brothers, and you know, love has kind of formed itself all throughout and held very deep grips into the story. I mean, Whole Cake. Whole Cake is a huge example of science versus love and how love can overcome science. Like, that's a huge, huge example about love, the bonds of family, and science. And it's so cool to come all the way to Egghead and Kuma moving through that science that had been done on him because of his love for Bonnie, that his love couldn't be stopped by any sort of science, any sort of experimentation done on him. That was his daughter, and he was going to protect her no matter what. I love this idea of love, and we see it again in chapter 1107. I'm skipping ahead, but I have to theory dump this out. But when Sanji blocks Kizaru's laser beam with his leg, and they're like, how did you, like, that's a laser beam, how did you do that? And oh my gosh. And Sanji says love is stronger than light. First of all, that's such a bar, but he says love is stronger than light, and Kizaru is like, well, if that's true, then physics says we know it is dead. And it just kind of reinforces this idea of love being stronger than anything else in this world. And it's just really cool. I mean, there's a lot of theories out there regarding love and the impact it has and what its true role in the story is. And I've seen a lot and read a lot with some of my friends recently, just because I finally caught up. So I'm just like, guys, I can actually join y'all's conversation. Let's talk. But it's super interesting to see how love, that idea and concept of love that we have seen in One Piece so frequently, finally starting to take form, take shape into something more tangible in Egghead through Kuma, and then with Sanji. I love it. I love it so much. That kind of theory aside, Saturn is trying to attack Bonnie and Kuma. Sanji comes in and kicks him away, kicks his leg away. I didn't mention it in my last video because I was struggling a lot to speak last week when I was doing my video. But my goodness, Sanji has been showing out this saga so much. He has been just popping off so much. Like, it's insane. And even I know Oda's doing it for a like good reason, but I've noticed it even when like he's, you know, going off with Bonnie. Like, he did it a little bit with Stussy earlier, but it wasn't excessive or anything. It was just it was reminiscent of Sanji from Priest time skip, the way he was handling himself around women, and then he, you know, catching Bonnie, saving Bonnie, not thinking twice about it, and just going along as normal. And then he's coming in and he's having these really great feats, and his whole thing being about love and how he loves women and how he respects women and all of this, and then him protecting Bonnie, putting his life on the line, and the concept of love coming up again, and Sanji is just being so amazing and perfect because he is. I am so happy with how Oda is writing Sanji's character in this arc right now. I mean, I love Sanji regardless, but I'm so happy to see him shine again in this arc, and I'm looking forward to see how Oda is going to use Sanji, because he's been a protector, he's been a defender, and how is that going to play into these next few chapters, especially with, Vegapunk being either badly injured or dead, and still trying to escape the island, trying to escape the Buster Call. I'm really excited, but also a little nervous because Sanji is getting a lot of highlights, and that just intrinsically makes me nervous. I don't think Oda would do something like that, but I'm really interested to see where this goes, because Sanji has been playing such a huge role, like how he gets Bonnie and Kuma and they're running away, and then he hands Bonnie off and tells her, like, don't worry about it, I'm gonna go get Vegapunk, like, I'll get him back for you, and leaves to go get Vegapunk. He's reporting in to Nami about what's going on, informing her about, like, the Buster Call that's happening and like their current situation, keeping her up to date on everything, and then going to Vegapunk to try to protect him, even though things aren't looking well for him. Sanji still tries to put his life on the line for Vegapunk. It's so cool. I love it. I love it so much. I love to see Sanji getting this much highlight again, and just makes my heart happy. Now, before I get into more of the events of what's going on, I have to take a moment to talk about Kizaru. I said last week that Kizaru is a character I've been keeping my eye on, that I've been looking out for, because his actions and thoughts are a little contradictory. He doesn't really seem on board with all of this, and we see more of that in these recent chapters, from Vegapunk saying, like, talking to him, being like, what's wrong, can you not handle the pressure, and Kizaru says, yes, I'm a miserable sight, I should have brought darker shades. Like, he doesn't even want to look at what's happening, he doesn't want to face what's happening, but he's still acting on orders even though he doesn't want to. And it just makes it really, really complicated, because even later on, when Kizaru is attacking Bonnie, he's aims an attack at her, and then he closes his eyes. He closes his eyes to send out the attack, and then is shocked when Sanji comes in and stops it. But it's like, Kizaru is such a complicated character. I can't just say I hate him, I can't just say I like him. I'm kind of in the middle on him. Like, I like his character, I like where it's going, but he's also still not on our side and causing some very serious damage. He's a problem. But it's so complicated. Like, it's just so complicated how he's acting and the things he does, because even when Kuma shows back up, he's like, it's over now. And it's I don't know what Kizaru is thinking, but I want to know, because what is going on through his head? Why is he saying and doing the things he's doing? Because I don't know. But back to the progression of events. Bonnie and Kuma and I can't remember her name, but one of the Vegapunks, they're all going to escape, and all of the Kumas are going to attack her and Kuma. And Saturn says it's the height of folly that Kuma would be taken down by one of his clones, and then Bonnie yells out for them not to attack, because she's like, no, help us get off this island. And all the pacifistas listen to her, because Vegapunk couldn't stand the idea that Bonnie, as a pirate out on the seas, would come up against one of the pacifistas, and one of the pacifistas would hurt her because he's like, I can't stand to imagine your own father hurting you or killing you. That would just be horrible. So he made Bonnie the highest ranking authority over Kuma's pacifistas. I mean, higher than the five elders, and like, she is the highest authority for the pacifistas. And because she says, no, don't hurt us, don't kill us, help us escape, all of the pacifistas turn against the Marines and they start fighting the Marines. And the Buster Call is activated, and it is just absolute total chaos as everybody is fighting and trying to escape. You have, oh my goodness, you have the pacifistas holding off the Marines so that we don't really have to deal with it, so that we can just get our crew together and try to escape this island. You have Saturn saying the ship that I left yesterday was destroyed, and it wasn't, because the government ships that they'd actually sent were the ones destroyed, and they were trying to get in contact with Kizaru to warn them about them coming. We have Jinbei trying to get Zoro away from Lucci, and Lucci is trying to talk smack to Zoro, and he's like, you're talking as if you have control of this fight. Love that for Zoro. But Jinbei's trying to help him out because they don't have time to be fighting. You have Nami and the others, but they're all fine. They're all, I guess, getting ready to leave. You have Brooke with another Vegapunk. I can't remember their names right now off the top of my head. You get Brooke with another Vegapunk using ice to like slide the ship down because of Brooke's powers. He kind of used it as ice, and he's just like, yeah, we're gonna get down there just fine, but I don't have a way to stop, so we'll have to figure that out as we go. So funny. He's so calm throughout the entire thing. After Bonnie does command the pacifistas to fight back and protected them, Vegapunk knows. He knows what's going to happen because he's like, you will always have Kuma on your side, but because I did this, I know what happens next, and he gets impaled by Saturn. But then Luffy comes back, protects them, fights off Saturn and Kizaru because he's got a full tummy again, so he can fight. He's back in Gear 5 as Nika, and again, once he's back in Gear 5, the machine guard stuff, the armor, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Like, that metal armor starts to awaken again the moment Luffy goes into Gear 5. That's not a coincidence. And we still haven't seen what the impact of that is, but it's waking up too. You have Bonnie finally realizing that Luffy is Nika, that Luffy is the one that they have been waiting for, they've been searching for. And that moment when she realizes it, when Vegapunk's telling her, like, yeah, that's him. And she's thinking of her memories with her father and everything that she's been told about it. And then she sees him in the sky. I love that moment. That's such a fulfilling moment. And when Vegapunk is saying the Buster Call is futile because for centuries people have been waiting for him, saying he's not gonna die here. Like, this is just his beginning because everybody's been waiting for him to come. But before we can do anything else with that, the giants come back to Egghead. They're coming back to help us out. They're here for the Straw Hat crew. Which, I mean, that has to mean that Shanks is involved in some way because they were last with Shanks and then suddenly they're here. I don't know. But they're here. Dory and Broggy, they're here. Usopp sees them. Usopp's reaction to seeing the giants is everything I needed. I need them to talk again. I need them to reunite so that they can talk and have a conversation. I am waiting for that. But they're here. And when they appear, and everybody's asking why the giants are here, and he says, when all that happens in the world is inevitable, Broggy. And he says, or should it be Sun God? So they know about Nika as well. They know who Luffy is as well. I There's a lot to unpack there. The Giants are here to help. Usopp is really happy. You have all the Straw Hats kind of reacting to that and trying to get things in motion, like with the ship and getting Zoro, all of that. And then we get back to Luffy, and he's looking at Bonnie. He's like, Bonnie, why are you crying? And she's looking at him, and she was like, because I've been looking for you. And Luffy, not understanding the importance of Nika is the most Luffy thing ever, because of course he doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't know the significance of who he is, and that just tracks for Luffy's character. And then Bonnie saying, I want to be able to throw a punch like you do. Beat him up for me. Beat him up for Vegapunk. Show me how to do it. And Luffy's just like, okay, yeah, I'll show you how to do it, and hits Saturn with a Dawn Gatling. And again, that is when Sanji blocks Kizaru's laser beam with that love is stronger than light. I love that line. I love Sanji showing out in this arc. And Sanji and Luffy staying up front while the others are fleeing. And Sanji with his little quirky remarks, I just love it so much, because Kizaru's like, I'm in a bind now, I at least have to take y'all with me or else I'm gonna lose face. And Sanji saying, you better start writing up your formal apology. I love it so much. But that's not all. We get Katarina and Van Augur from Blackbeard's crew showing up out of nowhere here, looking at the five elders, mocking them for how far they've fallen, talking about how Blackbeard is special, and then Saturn says his bloodline is special too. Them saying that they're after the world before disappearing from Saturn's sight to move more, I guess, sneakily in the background. When we get Caribou. It's getting to the point where I have to talk about him as much as I don't want to. Caribou goes up to Blackbeard's crew and is saying, I've been looking for y'all. Blackbeard's the one that Caribou has been gathering all of this intel for and wants to tell everything to. It's Blackbeard. It takes him a while to convince them to listen to him, but basically he's like, all the information I have about the ancient weapons there and everything, that's what I'm going to share with Blackbeard, and he convinces them to give him a chance to relay that message to Blackbeard. You have, and this is all 1108, so this is all the recent chapter. I'm really going to focus in on this one because this drop was insane. So that whole Caribou situation happened, of course. You have the Marines trying to flee because the pacifistas are just causing too much damage. You have all of the vice admirals that are on board discussing, whether or not the Buster Call should be called off. What are they going to do? Because, they're trying to fight against all this scientific technology and they know they don't really have a chance. But because it's found out that Bonnie is like this supreme authority over the pacifistas, they all decide that she's the one that has to die, and so they're all trying to target Bonnie. But just as one of the vice admirals is about to hit Bonnie and Frankie, the Giants come in and save them. Dory and Broggy save Bonnie. And they're just like, yo, we're here for the Straw Hat crew. We're here to help y'all. And they have a conversation with Dory and Broggy, saying that they're from Elbaf, that the Straw Hats are their friends. Of course they're going to help them out. But then, as the Giants are talking, he says, oh, Vegapunk is the man that Scholar mentioned. What Scholar? Who mentioned Vegapunk? I don't think it would be Saul, because I think they would just call Saul by his name, and he wasn't ever a scholar. He was a former vice admiral. So it wouldn't be Saul. So is it somebody else from O'Hara that lived somehow? Clover or Olvia maybe? Or is it somebody else that we have been overlooking? That I have been overlooking? Who is the scholar? Who is the scholar that they were mentioning? Is it someone associated with the Revolutionary Army? Who? Who? But some of the giants are taking the Straw Hats and Bonnie and Kuma. They're taking them to the ship for safety. The other giants are progressing further. You have some of the vice admirals going out to sea to meet and fight against these giants, regardless of their strength. And we figure out that Doll used to work under Saul. Did I know that? I didn't know that. Even if we had happened to see her in the O'Hara flashback, I doubt I would have recognized her. I didn't. But she used to work with Saul all those years ago. That's a really cool detail. But then we get to Saturn and Luffy and Kizaru and Sanji. Saturn looks like he is losing his mind. Saturn looks like he is losing his sanity the longer this fight drags on. And Sanji, of course, is trying to get Vegapunk out of there because he's been critically injured. And Sanji being the one to look at Saturn, which there's so much significance to this, but Sanji being the one to look at Saturn and say he's less and less human by the minute. His eyes look bizarre. And like he's coating himself with some sort of poison or something like that. And Saturn does look just like absolutely crazy. But he starts attacking, going on this rampage. Luffy, of course, is laughing and dodging his attacks while Sanji is holding Vegapunk, trying to get him out of the way while also being like, Luffy, watch out. Kizaru comes, hits Sanji, makes him drop Vegapunk, and he shoots Vegapunk through the stomach with his light. At first, I was just like, why? I'm still like, why to a sense, but I have a thought on that. Let me get through the rest of this because we're almost done with the summary of this chapter. But Sanji at this point realizes that Vegapunk's not in great condition, even more so than usual, or even more so than before. So he takes him, he's like, I'm sorry about this, and he's just gonna run. And Kizaru goes to follow him, but Luffy grabs Kizaru and then face palms. I love it. He face palms Saturn. And this is like, I think this is the first time he's been in Gear 5 that there's a panel of him and he's not smiling. And like he's holding him, but then the smile comes back instantly after that. But then he says, you guys aren't going anywhere. That's such a cool scene. I love that so much. That got me so excited. That got me so hyped. But then as Sanji is running with Vegapunk's smiling, and as he's smiling and not responding to Sanji, a message starts going up on the screen of Vegapunk announcing to the world, saying, while many of you will be shocked by what I have to say in this message, I assure you that it is the truth of the world. What all about the truth is he going to reveal? Is he planning to reveal? Who all is he broadcasting to? Is it really a worldwide broadcast? Is it just to certain people? Is he doing this to Big News Morgan? Is he doing this to certain places in the world that he knows will have his support? Where is this all gonna go? But he's gonna reveal the truth. He's gonna reveal something. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. But what regarding Kizaru's attack on Vegapunk, my spitball theory, what I just hope is maybe right, is that Vegapunk dying triggers something to start. Vegapunk dying, that's what triggers this broadcast. Is if he dies, this all comes to light. It's like an automated process. Because, I mean, he's a brilliant scientist, so of course he can make that work. There's also the things in like the lava phase or something where there were all the other parts of Vegapunk, so there's still a potential of maybe him getting put back together in a sense. Or maybe he still will be alive, but not alive in the way we see him now. like he made the call to Dragon, telling Dragon that, yeah, I'm gonna be dying soon. What if he made a similar call to Kizaru? Because they were old friends, and and maybe he was just like, Kizaru, you've got to be the one to do it. And so maybe that's why, even though Saturn hit him first, Kizaru came back and hit him in like the exact same spot. Maybe to trigger something, maybe to cauterize the wound. I don't know if that's really plausible, but maybe Kizaru being the one to kill Vegapunk triggers something, and Kizaru was told beforehand, and that was the only way Vegapunk was really okay with it. But then, the whole Bonnie situation happened, so that made Vegapunk want to survive a little longer. I don't know. But that's my thought. That's my theory on that. I think I don't know what to feel about Kizaru. Like, I hate him, but he's not doing nice things all the time, and he's such a hard character to read. And now I'm just really nervous but excited. I'm so excited to see what this message is, and for the first time not being able to just go to the next chapter on that cliffhanger when I have been dying to know even an inkling of the truth for so long. It's quite painful. It hurts. It hurts a lot more than I thought it would. But we're waiting another week before it comes out, so here we go. That is my review for this section. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot happening on Egghead right now, and my mind gets to go into full theory mode now that I am all caught up and have to wait with the rest of y'all for another week. So let the theorizing begin. I'm so excited. But I'm really nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm lots of feelings. It's a lot. However, that's all for this video. Again, Patreon will be getting this video early, so if you want access to my content before the Thursday drops, you are welcome to go to the Patreon. Early access will be on there. You'll get a lot of other content early or beforehand. So go check out my Patreon if you want. All of my One Piece stuff is on there, and I'm going to be having the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action reviews on there, and more coming soon. So please go check out my Patreon. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time, scholars. Bye!